We are back with a Fox News alert and a live look at Walter Reed Hospital, where President Trump is undergoing treatment for COVID-19. The president shared this message before heading to the hospital.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will never forget it. Thank you.
The president's doctor echoing those sentiments, saying the commander-in-chief is doing very well and, quote, resting comfortably at Walter Reed Medical Center. Dr. Sean Conley says the president finished his first dose of remdesivir therapy. His health will be monitored as he continues to run the country from the hospital's presidential suite.
Meanwhile, more high-profile Republicans test positive for COVID-19, including RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel and Kellyanne Conway.
And as President Trump undergoes treatment at Walter Reed, Joe Biden is turning the diagnosis into what he believes is a lesson for voters.
This is not a matter of politics. It's a bracing reminder to all of us that we have to take this virus seriously. It means wearing a mask in public, and it means encouraging others to do so as well. It means having masking mandates nationwide.
Here to react, Georgia Senate candidate and Congressman Doug Collins. Congressman, welcome to the show. You know, I didn't hear anything different from Joe Biden there. To me, it seems like pretty consistent messaging that he's had throughout, with the one caveat that he's pulled down negative ads. Do you think what he's saying here about a national mask mandate will have any impact on voters, given that he said that before?
No, I really don't. And let's be honest. He starts when you have to start out by saying this is not about politics. It's about politics. He's using a point to make against what is going on right now. Look, he has been hiding in the basement. He's been in a basement, and this is his choice. That's exactly what we need to understand here. Is he chose to do that and stay away from people. The president has been out leading, and the president has been taking precautions. As someone, you know, if you just go around, they've been doing everything that they can, and the president still got it. What we're actually looking at here, though, is a reminder. As I was hearing earlier in your show today, is that we do as a country are going to get back out, and as we get back out, this virus is still here until we have a vaccine, or it is gone. It's going to be here. We have to learn to deal with it responsibly, wearing masks, washing hands, doing those things that we need to do, but also as a reminder that we can do that while still getting back out and running our country, and the presidency is showing that.
Yeah, Congressman, the president has tried to strike that balance of saying you got to be responsible, but I want to give you individual choice. I believe we need to be opening up. We need to respect businesses to make their own risk calculations and treat their customers responsibly. How do we maintain that balance of attempting to reopen and not slide backwards reflexively and emotionally at this moment?
Well, it's going to be real, you know, it's going to be a possibility that people will use this to say, no, we need to go back. But again, the president, number one, he's always led from the front. He's always been, he is our president, but he's also a man who is now going to deal with this, and along with the First Lady and others. But let's look at the way it's going around in the different parts of the country. Here in Georgia, we're seeing, and been open back up for a long time, and our numbers actually in my hometown across our state are going down, consistently going down. And we're seeing they've managed in a very responsible way. But what we've got to understand is there's also a political cost, but not only also an emotional and a economic cost to this idea that you just shut down everything. Remember, shutting down everything will not get rid of this virus. It will slow the virus. It'll still be there. But we got to make sure that we're taking into account responsible opening, but also responsible living, because our people and our economy have to have that as well, because that keeps us strong while we keep physically strong and also mentally and economically well as to that point as well.
Speaking of not shutting down, let's talk about the business of governance for a moment, Congressman. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying the Senate will move full steam ahead in their nomination process, their confirmation process for Judge Amy Coney Barrett. In your estimation, this order of business, along with, by the way, a COVID-19 relief bill in the House, where are we on moving forward in the process of governance inside of Congress?
Well, really, since the 116th Congress started, governance was always a second thought to the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, because she was more concerned about the November 3rd election. We didn't move any big packages. We could have been doing things for a long time that she just never got around to. And then when it came down to the point this past week of trying to find a relief package, working with the White House, she stuck to a number, an unrealistic number that really, frankly, added more to a political calculation than it did actually helping businesses and helping people. So, look, I think that's just, unfortunately, is stuck right now. But I think think the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett is something that can move forward. They can do it safely. They can do it. There's no reason that this should stop. And I believe that Senator Graham will actually hold those hearings. We'll get it onto the floor, and it'll be voted on before the election. And I think you can do that. The problem I've always had with Congress right now is we viewed ourselves, especially Speaker Pelosi and others, have viewed ourselves as something other than an essential part of government, and that they can centralize control in leadership. The problem is we all needed to be there. We all needed to take a test, take precautions, but we could actually do our job. People need to see Congress in action, and they didn't see that, especially from the leadership in the House over the last little bit.
Yeah. A lot of businesses, a lot of people out there need help. Under government mandates to shut down, they can now use a government relief effort when it comes to COVID-19. Congressman, I hope you guys can move something forward. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, sir.